Hey everybody, we are going to learn a surprise song at the end of this by reviewing some great music concepts here. First thing that we need to know is a quarter note, eighth notes, and 16th notes. These eighth notes are written in a pair. They also can be written individually, like this with a flag. These 16th notes are written in a group of 4, but they also can be written in a group of 2, like this, as long as they have a double line there. Instead of using counting numbers, we're going to use syllables here. Our quarter note, of course, gets 1 beat. It's the most basic note we use, and we're going to use ta. Now, we can split our quarter note into 2 half beats. So these are called eighth notes. The eighth notes each get a half a beat. So instead of saying ta, we're going to say ti. Takes the same amount of time to make 2 sounds, tt, as 1 ta, or 2 eighth notes to equal 1 quarter note. Then we're going to have 4 16th notes and use the syllables tika tika. These are again twice as fast as the eighth notes are. So 4 tika tikas would be the same time as 1 ta. So our rhythm pattern we're going to use in this song goes like this. Ta, ta, ti, 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 tika, sh, tika. So again, it's going to be long, long, short, 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 fastest, fastest. Ready? Here we go. Ta, ta, ti, 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 tika, tika. Ta, ta, ti, 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 tika, tika. So that's our rhythm here. Coming over to the piano, we're going to just use a 4-note pattern here. Okay, we're going to start on C and use C, D, E, F as a nice easy example, but we're going to talk about how we can move this all over the piano. And in order to do that, we need to use half steps and whole steps. So if you don't already know about half steps and whole steps, a half step is from one note to the very closest neighboring key. So using these half steps, we could play all the black and white keys. Now, when we put 2 half steps together, this is what we call a whole step. So this would be common in, for instance, do, re, mi. So those 3 sounds would be whole steps going up. Lastly, we have a half step because there's no black key here. So in this pattern that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, we ended with a half step. Let's try this starting in a new note. Okay, we're going to start over on G and play a whole step, another whole step, and then a half step. If you create this pattern of 4 correctly, it'll sound like the Addams Family. And those are 2 ones that only use white keys, but you could use it anywhere. What if you started here? Skip this and make a whole step, and lastly, a half step. So you could start with any key you want. Here's an E. This would be a half step, so we're going to make this into a whole step, and we end with a half step. So we can take this anywhere on the piano. Now that we know this, we're going to use our rhythm. Ta, ta, ti, 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 tika, tika. Ta, ta, ti, 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 tika, tika. And we're going to use the pattern 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, so I'm going to skip one of the notes in my pattern. I'm going to go 1, 2, 4. 1, 2, 4. And that ending, baby shark, is my half step back down to my 3rd note. So one more time. 1, 2, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. After you've done it 3 times, 4, 4, 3. Of course, that's pretty easy to learn. So the challenge is, where else can we move it to the piano? Here's a big challenge. Let's start here. Make a whole step, and then finally a half step. One, two, four. Half step down to 3. Now I'm going to start on D. Whole step, half step. 1, 2, 4. Now where do I go next? I need a half step down to number 3. So if you can learn to move that 4-note position all around the piano, then later on we're going to look on 2 more things. How to add harmony notes, so how to add supporting notes with the other hand, and then also how to use these 4-note groupings to make a scale. That's the one we just used. So if we started on G, and then added the next one, we've just created a scale. Whole, half, and then I start again on D, whole, half. So we're going to use our Baby Shark knowledge to work on our scales as well as our chords later on this week. So practice that all around the piano and tell your parents, I'm sorry I taught it to you. All right, starting with C. Now I'm going to step up one to G. Step up to D, my next note. Whole step, half step. Now I'm going to start on the next note, A. Next note is E. Whole step, half step. Next note is B. Whole step, half step. We're going to get tricky. We're going to go up to the black keys, F sharp. I'm going to recycle back down, start on F sharp and make a whole step, half step. Half step. Next is C sharp. Whole step, half step. This is all black keys for the most part. Half step. G sharp does the same. Now I'm going to start on E flat, whole step, half step. I'm almost done now. I'm on to B flat. Whole step, half step. And lastly, I'm going to go to F. I'm going to show you a neat trick here. I'm going to take my F, baby shark, and I'm going to lay my C next to it. And I'm going to take my 2 4s, and I have a major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. I've split it between my hands, but I can take any 2 neighboring groups, and I can now play a scale. I can take my G group, baby shark, and my D group, baby shark, and I made a scale. What about if I start on E and B? I can lay them side by side. And I have made the major scale.